Chair, I'm looking forward to the report coming back to the Finance and Performance Committee, re the Civic Building. When I think of the Civic Building, I think of wind bellowing through those windows that are just about falling out. I think of water pouring through the roof and through the floors. And heritage, well, the only thing I can think of heritage is Simon when it comes to heritage. So, if this was in the private sector, it would have been long gone. The cost of the ratepayers of Auckland is huge. I'll leave it there.
Okay, I can see it will be a big discussion at Finance. Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I recognise a lot of work's gone into this. My concern is, and I think we have to start looking at this from the viewpoint of ordinary members of the public. It is their civic square, is the meaningfulness and relevance of what the council is doing here. The work is predicated on solving a problem. Problem being, mentioned here, the square is not as civic as it used to be. And I think the officer mentioned, or said the words, that Civic Square is not pulling its weight. How on earth did that happen? Was that some historic event that we're trying to make redress for? Or was it our own decision making? It was the decision of this council to desert the Civic Building, perfectly functional, high-rise building in the CBD of Auckland, lock it up and go off to a bank building up the road. And in the meantime, 14 months now, a perfectly functional civic building has been locked up and sitting there and costing the ratepayers. So that's what happened. The reason why it's not civic as it used to be is that the council has deserted the civic square. That's the first thing. So let's own the problem. We made a bad decision. We didn't think through. It's a bad decision financially, and it's a bad decision in terms of civic town planning. We have how many CCOs, the Independent Maori Statutory Board, and God knows what, all renting high-rise buildings on the waterfront, and this thing is empty. So that's the first problem that we should be honest to the public about. The second problem I find with this document is that it's virtually dripping with te aranga design principles. And while the officers are vague about what that really means, the word tauiwi is divisive and offensive, and predicated on that, the te aranga design principles are flawed. And if you look at page 20 of the report, there is a picture of people in Civic Square. I took that picture. It's a group of people listening to a Pacific Island gospel choir. Pacific people are Samoan ethnics. The naval ratings ladies are Pākehās and a little Chinese boy sitting in the foreground. According to te aranga design principles, all of those people who happen to be Aucklanders are considered foreigners. Strangers, foreigners. This is this design principle, te aranga design, you keep evoking. And I think it's time you looked at it again and got back down to earth and starting making this civic centre the civic centre of Auckland, ordinary Aucklanders, all Aucklanders. And one of the words you could include in here is the word democracy and accountability. So if you're going to work along this basis, cover up our own mistakes, I don't think we're going to get much support from the people of Auckland.
Okay. Councillor Casey.
Thank you. I just wanted to congratulate Chris as the political leader of this and Tim for as the main author of the report in terms of the sections on homelessness and rough sleeping in the CBD. It's the first time in my experience of a council I've seen it right. It's right, it's correct. And I refer to pages 93 and 94 and then the feedback received on pages 144 and 145. And there's something gratifying to read. Participants universally felt empathy for rough sleepers. Most people did not think they were a safety issue. I have never seen that written in any council report before. And that's always been my understanding, having worked in the area. So now that you've got it right, what you've also done is allow the homeless action plan through my committee to marry up. And in this report, international examples have been looked at. And again, it's something I've always wished to see in a report and never seen it. You talk about Salt Lake City providing accommodation. You talk about Vancouver, who provide bench seats that can be closed up at night. So you've got to want to do that. Sorry, it's the Italian in me. You've got to want to do that. San Francisco has a mobile shower unit. And what the participants in this feedback, and who gave you the information, said they'd like to see that. They'd like to see lockers. They'd like to see showers. They'd like to see 24-hour toilets. The first time I've ever seen it written in a council report outside of the Homeless Action Plan. So what I'd like to do is invite you to come along to the next meeting of the Community Development and Safety Committee, which is on homelessness, the theme. And you can present part of this framework to that meeting and also get up to date with what all the key stakeholders are doing. So congratulations. It made my heart full to read this. And I know that we've come a long way from where it started, but it meant that you did go out, you did get right information, and you have included it in a council publication. And that makes me feel great.
Thank you, Councillor Casey. I think that might be it. Councillor Darby, would you like to move this and make any
Madam
comments?
Chair, can I just, I don't know what Councillor Casey was inferring with that comment she made about what people
Can't hear you,
thought.
George.
Was that?
Can't hear what you say.
Well, it didn't say, it wasn't part of the survey.
No, it's on page 94, George. Participants universally felt empathy for rough sleepers. Most people did not think they were a safety issue. Wonderful.
Well, I don't agree with that, but anyway.
It's fine.
Well, I think people...
Councillors, that was a survey, so however we feel, that is the result.
Well,
Councillor
Madam
Darby.
Chair, it's always nice to know the details of the survey, so if you can send them to me, it'd be helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
Please
sure
take
that
the
can be
survey,
done.
George.
We have much to circulate. We will circulate Councillor Brewer's funded and unfunded information, the information on the survey, and anything else that people wish to pick up. Councillor Darby.
Thanks, Chair. And thanks, Councillor Casey. And it's there because it reflects the public feedback, and that's what this stage of the document is about. So not all public feedback is reflected here because it was outdone by other public feedback. That's what you do here. But anyway, hey, look, thanks, members, for... we had a workshop some months ago on this, and I think we've examined it pretty hard. And this is a guiding document, and it's about the unfolding of this quarter. And while a lot of the conversation here today has been about the very inner quarter, it is a much bigger quarter than you quite realise. And if you look at the quarter boundaries, they have been pushed out. And this quarter does include the edges of education, Unitec, it includes Lower Myers Park, it includes our council tower, it includes north of Wellesley Street, it includes the St James. So just to give you a sense of what we are talking about here, it's not just about Altier Square and that strange building over there. And I guess one of the things that intrigues me here and I think is one of the principal anchors of this document is that this is about four key things. It's about the big anchor of civicness, the big anchor of cultural stimulation and our immersion in that, and that's these places of performing and visual arts that we have in the inner core. It's about non-stop entertainment, and it will in the future be 24/7 non-stop in this quarter. That is the vision as being articulated in this document. I surprised myself when I counted up 8,000, right now there are 8,500 theatre seats in this quarter. Now 8,500, and I double checked and the number came up again. because when you take into account St James, the basement, the queue and all the others on that list, it's quite phenomenal, the resource that we've actually got, but we don't know how to put it all together and make it work for us. That is not including another couple of thousand cinema seats. I've excluded those, and it's not including the 20,000 people that you can fit in Aotea Square for a big event. So we've got a lot going for us, but we have never quite grabbed it all together and realised what sort of wonderful beast we've got to play with here. I see this area as becoming as seductive, this new Midtown Renaissance is becoming seductive as the waterfront, which Aucklanders have woken up to over the last 10 years, but particularly the last 5 years of this council. So what you'll see in this final document are some changes, and there's been some very good feedback. We've had some very good feedback from iwi and the hapu of Aurake, and wider public generally. And one of the things that Aurake gave us was the importance of the underlying natural systems that were here, the Waihoritu stream. And if you look at the Waihoritu stream, which is now showing, it shows this confluence around Aotea Square of the tributaries flowing out through the once were wetlands where the Civic is now, the Civic Theatre is, and then flowing down the Queen Street Valley. It shows the street patterns from the 1800s and 1900s, which I think we should remember. They were powerful street patterns. Lost sight of them a little bit, and we've built upon that, and let's remember what got us to where we are today, and that's cultural history, and it's historic built history, and a number of other things. But I want to emphasise the 4 big development projects that are highlighted here, and that's the Civic Administration Building, Bledisloe West, Aotea Centre and Town Hall. Now all these developments are going to be really critical developments going forward. And Councillor Brewer, you raised a very valid question about costs going forward. What I also want to point out here, members, is there are tremendous revenue opportunities going forward. Bledisloe West offers us a big revenue opportunity. Town Hall South, and if you haven't seen the globe and how it's defined that space, go and have a look. You can actually see the basement building and all those historic buildings, but that is also, in my eyes, a high revenue opportunity. The EOI we're treating with on the Civic Administration Building, and then there is a cost in the Aotea Centre, and that's $45 million upgrade and $30 million for the redevelopment. Now, that is in budget, but there is tremendous revenue opportunity here. It's not just all money going out. And I don't think we've, in the past, woken up to these revenue opportunities at all. This is what this document brings together. Chair, if I can just indulge a little bit, I just want to dwell on...
I'll move an extension of time, Madam Chair.
Second.
Thanks. Okay, I'll throw a pie that way later on. The Aotea Centre, I just want to bring your attention to the words for Aotea Centre. And I had a little bit of concern I was reading it last night. The Aotea Centre, it looks a bit like, I don't know, the New Zealand Navy ship Canterbury, the one that, you know, it looks like it needs to float away, but its bones inside are really good, and our people have done a great job on the inside. It is a fantastic performance venue on the inside. On the outside, it still looks like it should just float away.
Looks like a pillbox.
And we do need to do something about that. And we need to do it earlier rather than later, and that's why we've got that money in budget. It needs to extend out the back, it needs to marry up to Merrill Drive, it needs to marry up to the Civic Administration Building, and it needs to marry up to the Bledisloe Building, and it needs to greet the square more strongly. Those terraces that you see behind you there, I see in the narrative here the suggestion that they could become green roofs. I'm a little weary about green roofs and the greenwashing of architecture, but look, they're there at the moment. But the words also say making those roofs accessible. Those terraces we should be visiting. We should be looking out on Aotea Square from. They should be living spaces, accessible and living spaces, not alien green roofs, which become brown roofs with weeds in the summer. So I've sort of got a little concern about some of those words, but I think that building should be subject to a design competition, as should other buildings in the development area, the 4 development areas here. We're already half doing that with the EOI and the Civic Administration building, which we'll explore, rightly so, as Madam Chair, as you say, at the Finance Committee. Members, I think there's a template here for greatness to unfold. I think I invite design competitions to flow out of this, and I wish for quite outrageously good architecture to spill out of this framework, because it's deserving. This place, this Midtown Renaissance is beginning, and I think this is going to be attracting a lot of Aucklanders in the years to come, particularly with the Aotea station and the light rapid transit that will be running through it. So happy to move or second, whatever you got, and put it
If you move,
into
I'm happy to
realisation.
second. I'll second that. And Councillor Darby, again, thank you for your passion around this issue. You're a great champion for this. I'll put those recommendations. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Good work. Thank you, team. Excellent.
Madam Chair, could I just say one thing, please? There's a lot of movement with staff and different parts of the business. New opportunities come your way. Tim has been my deputy for 5 years since the amalgamation of the new council, and has been an amazing member of the team. And he's been leading this project, but also the City Centre Master Plan, which you agreed and worked on the targets earlier. He's heading off to Panuku development, which is a really exciting opportunity for Panuku. Tim's one of the best we've got, and it's just great that we've got people that can move around and new opportunities. So I wanted to say thank you to the work you've been doing. You've really been a great person to work with, and wish you all the best going forward. But I think councillors don't know what is always happening with staff. And Gavin, thanks for also working all the work. Gavin's been the project manager for this fantastic piece of work, which is hard because it's a big council business that needs to be corralled and shaped. And as Penny Howes, Deputy Mayor, was saying, all the decisions that flow out of this will have a frame on which to make their decisions. And so that's the point of this. And it's quite hard to do, but you've pulled the team together, the family, the group, and it's a great project. So I wish, and Gavin's off to the DPO, so we're working in Dean's area. So, lots of exciting change. So thank you, guys. And I just wanted the councillors to know that these are the guys that worked hard, but Tim in particular, for me, it's sad to see you go, but good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Ludo. Appreciated. We've got...
Madam Chair, we haven't left that item, so I'm just wondering if we can add something, and I want to acknowledge Tim and Gavin particularly for the work. So with your leave, can we just add, and we'll work out the words, but it's an acknowledgement of Tim Watts and Gavin Flynn for their work on the Aotea Quarter Framework, and also acknowledge the departure of Tim Watts to the CCO and his contribution from the ADO to the various frameworks that have unfolded. We'll work the
I
words
do acknowledge his departure. We might need him back.
So I think if we acknowledge our two named staff and the team, and I think that's a very good way of dealing with that. Okay, right, that was carried. Thank you, much appreciated. We'll just move to our last, I'll move the exclusion of the public for that very brief item, which is simply to receive the reports pending.